serious Division 2. We are finally back with the summer split, and I'm very, very hyped. And I'm also hyped to welcome to my side the wonderful Fresh Tana.
It's nice to be here. It's so nice to be here. I'm so excited, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm really excited as well because we have a wonderful split in front of us, and I hope everyone is excited at home as well for this one. I think it's going to be an absolute filler. So yeah, let's jump right into it. Let's take a look at what we are going to be offered this week in terms of games. And we can already see that there are a few new kids on the ground. We are going to start off today with some banger games that we're going to take a closer look at in just a second, and then you can also already see the games on Friday. So yeah, Fresh Tana, what are the new teams in the Division 2?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really bad in pronouncing some stuff, but we will do it. We will do it. First of all, we will miss AURORA, and of course we will miss Reapers, my favorite team from last split with my boy Wind on the top lane. And sadly, they moved to the first division, so we will sadly miss them. Then of course,
sadly they moved to the first division.
Yeah, it's nice for them, but it's sad for us, I would say. So
yeah, we are definitely gonna miss them, but yeah, I wish them the best of luck also in Division 1. They are definitely my go-to teams now in Division 1.
Yeah, and then of course we had like one team which was on the lower side of the bracket. I think it was Adverse, and they dropped out, so we have 3 spots to fill, and we have one team which is called NXT, or I would say Next, which is a new team, of course, and I think they were acquired by the Dutch community team, so, and then they got like acquired from them. Then of course we had,
I think actually it's just a rename. Okay. So the manager and everybody stayed the same. It's just that they decided that Dutch community team is maybe not the best name to compete in a second div.
And then of course we one team which came through the qualifiers, I would say, which was Flag Wolves. They rebranded into Full Clear Esports, so that's a new team name as well. And then of course there's the team with the big sea snake or something, the sea dragon, but I cannot pronounce it. It's JÖRMUNGANG or something. Just JÖRMUNGANG. It's I just heard it from Regie. JÖRMUNGANG.
I think we are just gonna go with JMGG.
Yeah. And then of course we have just the teams which stayed in the division, like ESLOL, Pertinax, Dynasty, Once Upon a Team, and AURORA. So 5 teams we already knew, but of course some roster shuffling and stuff, but we will talk about that from game to game. So because our first matchup is JÖRMUNGANG there, whatever, and AURORA, we will have a banger matchup. So a new team and an old team, and with some new faces.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe we can take a quick look at the schedule of the day in general to show off all the games. So yeah, we will have AURORA and JMGG as the first game of the day, followed up by ESLOL against Pertinax, and then in the lower half of, or in the later part of this day, we will see Full Clear Esports' first appearance against Dynasty, and Once Upon a Team against Next.
Yeah. That's a really cool schedule, and especially like we have it's me alone, and especially we have just 2 clear favorites, at least from my perspective, for the whole split, and it's good to see them not playing like in the first couple of games, so that we might have some really spicy matchups in the later week, because that would be not a shame, but I mean, if you see like the best 2 teams like clashing in the first match day, then it'd be a little bit not unfair, but sad. So
you already got best teams.
Yeah, already. The split hasn't even started, and I already know how the split will turn out.
Okay, so who do you think is pretty well set up for the spring split, summer split?
we are probably a little bit biased here in Rift Entertainment, but Rift Sloss looks really strong. And I mean, we need just to remember that this team was last split like second place team in the whole group, and then of course dropped a little bit in playoffs. But Rift Sloss came back with a strong lineup and reoccurring faces. So I think Rift looks really strong. And then of course my other favorite would be Dynasty. But we have now here our first match day of the day. Aurora against, I cannot pronounce it, I'm sorry, JMGG. And yeah, that will be a banger. And with Barnes coming in, as a German caster, I just need to say Silax, the mid laner of Aurora, is a German dude. So nice to have some German face.
Which one is a German?
Silax, mid lane of Aurora.
Oh,
Anyway.
okay.
Anyway,
I
we
thought
have-
Aurora was full Belgian.
No.
But then it's maybe one of the two Belgian orgs is I think has a pretty much full Belgian roster.
Yeah.
But yeah, JMGG actually, in my opinion, is the most interesting is a very interesting team here, as their way into the Div 2 was quite a bumpy one. Like they had a very strong performance in that first and second qualifier. The third one, they were pretty strong too, but then when it came to the playoffs, they almost missed their chance. Although they were like they won everything before that. And actually the exact same thing happened for the qualifiers for the spring for them. So they are basically a team that has been expected here in the Div 2 for as long as it exists. But yeah, now they finally made it here with a bumpy ride, and I'm really excited to see what they can bring to the table.
Yeah, and we already have some picks and bans coming in. Just to say something about those bans, like there's the classic Sari and Milo for red side, because you don't want to give them the blue side. And on blue side we have just some target bans against the ADC Dan, and then of course two top lane bans, and especially like the Garen looks a little bit fishy, but Bad Boy or Axo on the top lane, he is just a Garen player, so just take it out with Kazan the first pick, so just banning out some counter picks maybe, and then blind pick Poppy, or maybe Poppy top lane, could be Poppy jungle as well with a Nami. So we might see a Lucian coming down for Dan. Let's see. And on the other side, could be a Philios with like Fresh, or with like the Lulu, for example, with the Yumi, for example. So I would pick up a support here just to get a really strong bot lane going for Aurora.
Yeah, and I mean, you already pointed it out, but I want to emphasize a bit more on it, that Draven ban really is a target ban against Dan. He is potentially one of the strongest players on JMGG, a very high traded player as well, but he's an absolute Draven OTP, so that will be a perma ban against JMGG pretty much all split. And when we get to see it, I'm really looking forward to it, but I think it's going to be a perma ban.
Yeah, and didn't we had a Draven player last split as well? I quite remember something.
I think we had
Aurora?
1 or 2 games, but I don't think it was like an OTP the way Dan is.
Yeah, maybe. Let's see what the bans are. Probably some jungle bans and maybe some mid lane bans coming on to Silax. And then, of course, on the flip side, because you don't know if Poppy is jungle or top lane, the matchup with Cassandra is fine, but it's not like winning. So maybe you want a better pick there on the top lane for the Poppy. So because of that, we will probably see some mid lane bans coming out, just because JMGG will probably blind pick a mid lane just to have this flex pick with Poppy open for the whole pick and ban phase. So just banning out some mid laners definitely makes sense here, and then just trimming down the jungle pool, of course, is a good idea if you have already like an idea how to play. And of course, with Poppy, you might want to ban out some bad matchup. Although Jarvan and Vi are really good matchups for Poppy usually, because you have those dashes. So I don't know why you would ban out them, but of course, it's not about Poppy matchups. It's about what is best for our team comp, and there's Ari.
I just wanted to say, in case you're wondering why Frashtana is talking so much about Poppy, it's because he is an absolute Poppy OTP.
Definitely. In case you missed it, I mean, I wouldn't be sad if you missed it, but I was in my master promos with my only Poppy account, just saying. Anyway,
okay.
I was 2 times the master promos, 2 times lost them, but I mean, still the road it goes on and on. And there's Wukong, and like the funny thing is, some of those picks like are just always in meta, and especially like the Aphelios, we saw so much Aphelios on MSI last split. We saw so much Wukong for someone like Garbush or Skellen last split, like so many Wukong picks. So it's a good pick, and fits fine against the Poppy. Fits fine against like the rest of the squad. Like they are pretty like melee heavy, so they don't have like those long range champions, and because of that, Wukong can almost always just dash in and knock up someone. So I quite like that, and especially like with this LeBlanc, if you see this couple LeBlanc and Wukong, they are really strong, like in the mid to early to mid game, and then you have like a few Lulu to give you the late game perspective for your game, and then of course like Cassandra's like solid in every stage. So I really like the draft of AURORA because we have something for every stage of the game.
Yeah, I think also in general we have 2 teams that are quite like on eye levels here. Both of these teams probably are also playoffs contestants, just to throw some predictions out there on the first day. But yeah, I think both of them also have to prove something, so I'm really excited to see how they are going to do this, because JMGG, of course, is one of the new kids on the ground, and then AURORA, they didn't have the best spring split, to say the least. I think they only won against Once Upon a Team, which didn't win a single game, except from the ones they got gifted by Adverse leaving the league. So
yeah, so it's good to see that AURORA just rebuilt it, almost like the whole lineup or something. And especially like in the German scene, Sylax is at least like someone of a name. So I really like to see him here now proving in the second div ERL, just to show his skills here. So I quite like the lineup, and then of course, which is always a good thing, at least in my opinion, to have like a bot lane duo, especially in a mixed team, like with mixed languages, and both bot laners of AURORA are Polish players. So this little synergy just for them to speak the same language, to maybe even like get a very bigger bond together. Like that's something I really like in this AURORA squad. So that could really work out in their favor, of course. But we will see how those 2 teams clashes. Just for your prediction, which of those 2 teams won the draft? I already said that AURORA looks really strong just from the draft, but what's your opinion?
I mean, I kind of like both team comps. As you said, I definitely go with the prediction that AURORA has something for every stage of the game. They got this very late scaling with Aphelios. They got a LeBlanc. They got Wukong, which can be very difficult already in the early game. And on the other hand, I really like I don't know. I feel like the team combo of JMGG, it's very settled. Like you got this on the top lane which knows exactly what his job is. You got a Poppy in the jungle, which also has a very clear definition of what to do. You got an Ari, you got a Lucian, so they are a bit earlier in their carry roles, but I think it's still very like clear how to play the game from the side of JMGG. They went for a safer route there, I think, in the champ select, and I respect that.
Yeah, definitely. Like one problem I have with JMGG is that like they are lagging like a scaling pick. So with Lucian Nami, with Ari, and with 2 tanks, you don't have like the secured late game like with an Aphelios Lulu. Yeah. So that could be a problem. And on the second thing I want to mention is that Like, you first picked Poppy for the flex, and then you last picked Ornn into Cassandra. Like, if you need like nine picks as a total to then surprise us with Ornn against Cassandra, I don't know if that was like the smartest choice, because like it's not a hard winning matchup or something. And then why did you want to flex it and not just give mid lane, for example, the last pick for the counter pick, for example? But let's see how those two teams will face off each other, because we are now in game, of course, on Summoner's Rift. And yeah, it's an honor, it's a pleasure to cast the first game of the second
you have to announce the fact that we are in the first game of the split with a bit more hype.
It's an honor.
Let me retry this, okay?
Sure.
And with that, everyone, we are into the first game of this summer split, AURORA against JMGG, and I hope everyone is just as hyped as we are here at home. And with that, the teams are taking their places, their stances for this summer split. Freshtana, who do you think is going to take it away?
Yeah, I think AURORA. I think like I like the draft a little bit more, and yeah, it's just maybe biased because it's a German player on the squad, and I'm a German caster, so maybe it's a little bit biased. But
that's absolutely not biased.
Okay, perfect. And by the way, that's the reason why you are the play-by-play caster, right? The hypey thing, it's yours. So I quite like that. But here comes the training.
Who do you think is going to take first blood here? Where are we going to see the action right from the start here?
To be honest, bot lane, because Poppy is walking into Lucian army, and if she finds like the flash E onto a wall, into the bubble, for example, like especially now with AURORA pushing in, it could be dangerous. There could be a first blood angle from my perspective.
Okay. Yeah, I also think that Nami Lucian is a very dangerous lane now for the early game. And I think Aphelios and Lulu have to be have to pay a little bit of attention. I'm sorry, everyone. It's my first game of casting since Spring Split, so I'm a bit rusty, I feel like.
Yeah, that's no problem. As long as you know your play-by-play later, it's totally fine. And we already see like a little invade here. Oh, that could be spicy. No spice. Okay, anyway.
No. Well, it's just going to walk out there. Silax, however, coming in. Wood is going to hit, but no kill happening there.
Yeah, I mean, normally, Poppy had the prio with Ahri, so it wasn't like the worst invade, but of course, Aphelios Lulu pushed in, so you had no bot lane prio, and without bot lane prio, those invades are really dangerous.
Ooh, it's going to be close here on the bot lane. Also, Oval is coming down there, so now we have this Poppy on the bot lane. Wukong, however, on the way there to protect his bot laners as well, and Dan, of course, is pretty low already, so maybe not the right timing to get aggressive there. Poppy also went to do the scuttle crab now, and situation dismissed for now.
Yeah, and do you remember like the playstyle of Dynasty last split? Like those Wukong in-lane gangs we saw plenty of time. Like what AURORA at the moment is doing kind of reminds me of this playstyle. Just getting your bot laners ahead with those in-lane gangs from Wukong. Like that was really like an old Dynasty angle, what you could see there. And of course it was really smart from him to... He knew Poppy's bot side because she invaded him, so she could go for bot lane gank, and because of that, he just tried to counter gank it via the lane. So that was really smart there from Cremmy.
Yeah, how could anyone forget Scan and his Wukong?
Yeah.
It's all I'm gonna say to your question. If I remember them, of course I remember.
Of course.
A little bit of fighting here now on the top lane. Axe, however, has to pay attention, is a little bit out of mana there. And now Kremi is coming to the top lane with his Wukong. Flash is going out. There's the dash. No knock-up so far. Axo goes under the tower with his dash and is going to survive the situation.
Yeah, that was close, and like there you already can see that like this matchup isn't like the best at least, but of course it was a gang, and there's big trading there in the bot lane.
Ooh, yeah, Dan dropping pretty low here against the Lulu. And it's going to be first blood from Insane, who flashes behind to get that kill. And it's going to be the first blood of the entire split going to Aurora
Look
here.
at minimap. Look at, okay, Ari and Poppy wasn't gonking that. And like, isn't that like the player name just fits perfectly? Like a Lulu who offensively flashes forward just to get a kill, just to get first blood. I mean, that's an insane play, right? So this player really was insane, and I mean, it gave them first blood, so that's something. And we already see like a small CS disadvantage for the Lucian Nami, and like that could be a big problem because you usually want to play Lucian Nami for the aggression, for the really strong laning phase, and if you fall behind, that's not good. And there's the gank from Kremi.
Yeah, once again, Wukong is coming to the top lane here, and this time around, Axo will not have as much to his availabilities to flee here. Also has to cover much more ground, but was able to really make Kremi there quite low. And Aurora decided that it's too risky to keep on fighting this beast of an Ornn.
I mean, it's crazy that he could fight them 2v1, especially because normally like 2v1 as a tank, like you can't really fight that, but he had the level advantage, level 6 against level 5s, because, and that's something you don't need to forget, Kremi at his first gank got some XP from the wave, so that was the reason why Cassandra was level 6 and selected top lane.
Is to the top lane here. Anyways, the root is going to hit, but Axo already dashed out, so there's a lot of ground to cover for Gilmagesh, and I don't think it's going to be a kill. This Ornn is just simply unkillable.
And it's so funny. I mean, Axu on his solo queue account has the name Bad Boy Axu, and I mean, it's so fitting. He just survives every single gank. He survives the roam. He's still even in CS. I mean, what a player there for JMGG, just on the Ornn outperforming. Like, it's really crazy that he just soaks all this pressure and still is even on the map. So, I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah. And I also don't really understand why why Aurora is trying to play so much around this top lane. When they got a strong bot side already, so yeah. Why not like try to emphasize more on that bot side?
I could normally you say don't gank the tank. I mean, it makes sense. Why should you? Oh, Silax with the double chains, maybe.
Ooh, yeah, it's pretty low there. Lunata is also coming in, but double dash from Ari is going to save the day for him. Both mid laners actually super mobile here, so you might see that more often.
Yeah, and that's a smart rotation. Just getting your bot lane to the Herald, because there's no Drake on the map, so just getting your bot lane where the objective is really smart. We even see a little play there from Dan ulting the wave just to get it under the turret, just to maybe punish this play, those rotations with some platings on the bot lane. So I really like this decision to ult the wave just to get a little bit more damage to the turret. But Silax already is on the way, so Lucian needs to step away. And just for the last point, normally you say ganking a tank versus tank lane doesn't make too much sense, and like you said, you have a strong bot lane, so why not keep ganking bot lane? But especially Cassandra, he isn't the tank. I mean, if he ults, he is like the assassin that he becomes with his boosted stats, and so especially with such a threat, you can definitely try to gank, but I think like they really did a lot of resources into this Cassandra and it didn't pay it off right now. So that was maybe just a little bit unlucky for them, but I can definitely see why they did so much attention for this Cassandra, because usually he's like an assassin as well. But if you believe the old LS quote, that Ornn is like the wizard, hex-mage, assassin, cruiser, whatever, then Ornn can do all of that as well. So they are pretty even in terms of assassin style-ness, I would say.
Yeah, and pretty even is this game as well so far. We have a tiny lead on the side of Aurora, but I think that's almost neglectable after 10 minutes. Yeah, so far, very interesting game. A slow game, though, we are seeing here. Maybe now some action here in the mid lane as Zilex is fighting this Ahri, but again, not much happening there.
Yeah,
Maybe now with the junglers coming in.
And
but
so
everything
funny.
is pinged. Everything has been seen.
I mean, both mages here in the mid lane just keep lagging damage. I mean, Sylax with double chains can't kill Ahri, and the funny thing is that usually Ahri, especially if she goes deep frost. No, what's the item like this frozen item where you can just root someone? Like a lot of people usually say that Everfrost. Thank you. A lot of people usually say that Ahri has no damage. So and we see just that both mages try to kill each other, but nobody dies, and like that's kind of a little bit of a shame. But at the moment it works out. Or maybe Axel in the top lane. No, it was just a defensive ult.
Ooh, and now we have the action here on the bot lane. Both junglers are there, and Lunatea is going to be the first one to die here. But Aurora doesn't take a lot of time to strike back as Zilex has come down from the mid lane as well. And it's going to be a cleanup from them, putting them in a very good position here, picking up 3 kills against 1.
Yeah, what a really good gank there. Like, that's the playstyle what we would expect with Wukong, with LeBlanc, just roaming and ganking this bot lane, just getting your late game insurance ahead of this Lucian Nami lane. So that was a really good setup there. And now, of course, with those respawn timers are not too high, this Drake could be risky at least, especially because they now just used all the ultimates, and you already see that they need to get away. But I don't know. I mean, both teams don't have ultimates. Ahri has a Spirit Rush, so at least one ultimate, and like Silvers has it, like the Moon Ritual from Aphelios is there, so it could be dangerously for JMGG.
Yeah, Axo is there in the backline already, but has been called out from Aurora here, which are grouped well together. And now it's also JMGG taking over the tanking of the Drake, which is pretty low by now. Oh, we set a little bit right now. And there is going to be the Annihilator Charm coming out, and it's going to be the Aphelios falling right away for Aurora. So they have to deal without an AD carry in this fight. Lulu going as well, but there's the cleanup from Aurora, taking out Dan and Ahri. But Axo is in the middle of everyone, and you said it, this Ornn can turn into an assassin. He can take everyone unless he misses his skill shots. That was a crucial dash there that he could have hit it and saved his teammate. Now on the one there for Gigamesh with the flash, it's going to be the shutdown. 4-4 are the kills after this insane Drake fight without a real result. Drake is even still up.
Yeah, that's just top lane madness. Both top laners just destroy the enemy team solo-handedly. I mean, K'Sante jumping in, just ulting someone, killing them all, and on the flip side, Axo just unkillable, just tanking everything. Like, that's insane. Normally you have like 2 assassin mid laners, but no, you have 2 assassin top laners. Why not? Like, they just clean up the team fight. That looks really cool. And in the meantime, Drake didn't even got stopped, so we have just everything set to 0. And now both teams again try to fight around this Drake.
Yeah, we have both teams again at the Drakes here. There's going to be the ultimate hits the Lulu right away and the Aphelios right away, and it's going to be the kill. This Aphelios really doesn't want to live in the team fights. Now we are taking out the jungler as well. This is looking much better for JMGG this time around. Zilex getting out of the Dragon Pit there, however, but JMGG should be able to secure this Drake now.
Yeah, especially because Kremi is dead, so there's no smite. So Poppy should secure it in the end. There it is. And like that, just 2 Drakes. And at the moment, Aurora just plays into the hands of JMGG, because, like I said, JMGG has such a mid-game focused team comp. They have no scaling, so they are stronger in those little skirmishes, in those little team fights in the mid-game, just because so many champions of them spike on 1 or 2 items. And that's the reason why at the moment Aurora kinda loses those team fights. And then of course, like Cassandra was top lane, so they had the advantage with Axel being there, and just Lucian at the moment, just look at the items, is way stronger than the Aphelios, and then you just win those team fights at the moment. And with those 2 dragons, like, you have maybe no scaling in your team comp, but if you get the soul, that's a little bit of scaling as well. So I really like the playstyle of JMGG, and Aurora kinda plays in their hands at the moment.
Yeah. As you said, also JMGG in a very strong phase of their composition right now, of course. And now this Drake is going to be countered by a free Herald here, actually. JMGG is just going to give that away again to Aurora. So Aurora is still not in a bad position here, exactly. I mean, they are still, they have a small gold lead still. And I think they have the better scaling on their side. So far, nothing is really going against Aurora unless they start fighting too much right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, and maybe one thing about the scaling of JMGG, they have on items, so that's sometimes scaling people miss, and even I said they have no scaling, but they have on items, so a little bit scaling there, but still they probably are the less scaling comp, just because they have not a clean hyper carry. And but in the end, they really do a great job, but are still 2k gold behind. So that's especially because of some plating gold. We see that top lane turret was dead, so the first turret gold, the plating gold with the heralds and stuff. And then of course like a little farm leads here and there. So and a jungle, for example. But nothing too bad for a JMGG.
On the other hand, when we are already talking about scaling and we say, okay, Aurora has the better scaling with the Aphelios, yes, true, but look at like the stats of Aphelios. He's so far behind also his own team because he gets taken out always immediately by JMGG. So until this Aphelios becomes a real threat, he has a long way to go still.
Yeah. And now this good junk there from Silex.
Yeah. That's very assassin-like what Silex just did. Coming in from behind under the tower. Maybe the potential for more now with the Rift Herald. They're definitely going to take tier 1 tower as they're pushing in for tier 2, but all of JMGG is there to defend this. Dan just recalled is going to come in, however. And no fight.
At the moment, it's totally fine. Like, they got the objective, they can just back off a little bit and just play for the next Drake, because they shouldn't give away the soul. So at least maybe fight soul point, or at least after soul point you really need to fight like the last Drake. And that's the reason why they should all like recall now, spend your money from the turret, spend your money, get your wards down just to set it up. And then of course, like, we have Dragon and Baron almost spawning in the same time. And then the big question becomes, is there maybe a possibility to trade those objectives? So can one team set up Baron vision, just wait for the Dragon to be taken and then just try to rush the Baron? I believe that with Aphelios you could try to rush the Baron, but just maybe with 2 or 3 items. On the flip side, like, Baron damage with double tank, Ahri, Nami is not too high, so JMGG should probably play around those dragons, and you already see that all of them are in the river and they just wait for the face checks, they just wait for the good angle with Axel.
Yeah, a lot of tension building up here once again around that Drake area, which is also going to spawn in just a bit here. And of course Aurora doesn't want to give up another one, because then JMGG would have the possibility of going for the soul quite easy. Axel standing pretty aggressively there as Aurora is closing in. They got the Cassante in the back line, so a bit of a switcheroo from the position both teams were in last time. And now it's JMGG immediately starting this Drake. And it seems like Aurora is pretty indecisive, but they do decide in the end to go for the mid lane push instead of contesting the Drake. Are gonna get that tier 2 tower for the Drake, but is it really worth it?
Yeah, definitely, but maybe not if you lose some members. There's a big knock-up, but you can't really follow up at. Oh, teleport comes out.
Yeah, the rest of JMGG is not really there. Zillax now a bit in the backline there, a bit lost. JMGG also realizes that. They try to collapse on him, but LeBlanc, of course, being LeBlanc, is just super mobile, and therefore they now go for the 5v4 engage on the rest of the team here. Very well played from Aurora. Do get out the Lucian and Nami right away and lose their Lulu, however. And it is going to be Aurora who turn around this fight entirely as Zillax is coming in now. Just Axel is left. Wonderfully played.
Yeah, that could be Baron actually. I mean, now Aphelios is missing, so that's not Baron, but it's a good winning team fight, 2v4, and of course you got Turret for Drake. I think Turret for Drake is a fine call. In the end, you really need to fight like the last dragon, but especially like Cloud Soul, like Cloud Drake is not like the worst soul you can get, so even if Aurora will lose the Drake soul, you will not lose the game from it. Like, there are stronger souls, in my opinion. And with that, they can just play around Baron now. And just, especially with this Cassante, just try to 5v5, protect your backline. I mean, Aphelios doesn't look too scary, but if you look just the last team fight, his positioning, like the damage with the chakrams, like it was really huge. So
I think that's also where the JMGG teamfight failed, because in my opinion they had a very good position to go into this teamfight. They were pushing the LeBlanc away and then they were engaging 5v4, but they didn't manage to quite hit the mark and taking out the carries of Aurora fast enough. And Aphelios just got out a lot of damage. He had a good position still, and with that Aurora was able to turn the fight around, even though they were probably in the worst position starting into it.
Yeah. And now the big question becomes, how do you want to play out your line assignment? Because, like you see, your top lane is pushing in, bot lane is kind of slow pushing, so you really need to push out those waves. You see that those players, especially like mid laners, just sitting on 160 farm, so they're all just missing a lot of creeps because of the lane assignment and like the much grouping. So they could play it a little bit more cleanly from both sides, and with that maybe get some advantages with pushing lanes and finding good angles. And especially like with the Ahri, with the Poppy, you have good good chances for catches. On the flip side, of course, LeBlanc can also go for those catches. So just pushing in those lanes to then go for a sneaky catch could bring them back into the game, but Zillax is on a good flank there.
Ooh, yeah, gets a nice catch there onto the Ahri. Very well played from the Aurora mid laner. And that might be the call for Baron now. Aurora is already going that way, are going to clean up the wards. At least they are going to try to force JMGG into a fight now. You got already Born there in the backline, and they are going to start the Baron. So they are going to accept the debuff for a potential fight. You got Xante meeting the rest of JMGG on the top side there now. Then trying to engage onto Zillax there, but it's going to be killed in return. This LeBlanc is nasty. Damn.
And
Aurora now with two people up are in a good position for this Baron. Are going to get the stun there onto the Oval. And Ornn is trying to do his job in the front line, but there's no more damage from JMGG. Lulu is going to be taken out. But that's going to be it for Aurora, who claim their first Baron in this game.
Yeah, well played there. And especially like those picks from Sulax. Not only he got the mid laner, but also the ADC. So just killing the two threats of this team just makes them win this Baron. And now with the Baron buff, you can of course take down your first Drake of this game and just push out maybe a 1-4, one bot lane, maybe 4 mid lane, just to open up the map and then just play it cleanly with the Baron buff. Just try to siege, and like LeBlanc can always go for those poke trades, jumping in, jumping out, and maybe deleting someone. So I think that's the clear path to victory here for Aurora, especially now with the control over the map. There's not really a possibility for them to drop those dragons and so to drop the soul, and with that Aurora should take home this victory, but of course they need to play it clean.
Okay, are you ready for a very not nice question from my side?
Of course, always.
Because you just wonderfully explained the like winning conditions of Aurora, which are of course in the lead, so it's easy to see their winning condition. But what possibilities does JMGG still have here?
Yeah, I think they maybe just have one last bullet in the chamber of those Lucian guns, and that's just getting a good catch with your Ahri, and especially like, the Ahri charm can work against Silax. Just getting the shutdown would give them a little bit of possibilities, and just try to go for a good team fight, because like Yorn is like your big win condition right now, in my opinion, just because he's like your hugest member, and if you get some good knockups, maybe there could be a way, but yeah, it's really hard.
Yeah, I mean this LeBlanc is looking so dangerous. So she just needs to jump into the base, and I'm already like, okay, somebody's gonna die now. Thankfully, I think it was Dan who was being attacked there, survived. But yeah, I think LeBlanc has to be the target they try to go for with the charm there and their pick potential. And then maybe JMGG has a chance to win a team fight here. They are going for the engage right now with the on ultimate. No deaths so far. The Wukong now in the backline. It's going to be taking out Lucian and Ahri. So no more carries on the side of JMGG, as Aurora is totally cleaning up. Only On is left. He's trying to flash out. He's trying to gain some time, but Aurora turns around. LeBlanc already TP'd to the top lane. They are going to push for that base right now.
Yeah, and maybe you see now why they played around their top laner, why they played around this K'Sante. Not only it's his most played champion, but also like you can see how strong a K'Sante in the backline really is. And here's the last stand of JMGG, but it's probably too little too late.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the damage of the LeBlanc, taking out the Nami there in the backline. Axo, of course, trying his best, will get the Aphelios in the end, and JMGG actually also manages to kill LeBlanc here. So they do get a little bit of a comeback here, but of course they are an inhibitor down. They are their Nexus Towers down. They are basically open to any advances of the respawning Aurora.
Yeah, and I don't know who got the big shutdown of LeBlanc. I think the 700 gold from a Gigamesh came to Ornn, so I mean that's fine. No, maybe big shutdown again. Now he can run out, and he is probably fine. But yeah, just Kremi.
Yeah, Dash is not up for Axo apparently.
Yeah. But like 700 gold or 1000 gold on your top laner, on your fat Ornn is maybe not the best outcome. I hope that Lucian got the big shutdown from LeBlanc just to give him a little bit gold, and I think you can see that he has 3 items now, so probably Lucian got the other big shutdown. And like with those, like I said, if you can catch this LeBlanc, there is a way maybe, and especially I liked like the first step, like they saw LeBlanc on top lane, so they tried to engage 4v5. I mean, they lost the team fight, but still, I think that's the way out. Just try to find a good catch on someone, or try to fight like 4v5. Maybe even do a 3v5 because you ult one with the Poppy, just to have like a numbers advantage, for example. that could be a way. Now they tried 5v5.
Yeah, they are going in once again. JMGG there. Try to take out the Cassandra in the front line. Played front to back. But how well is that going to work? Wukong in the back line dealing already a lot of damage with this ultimate. Now it is Cassandra there in the back line. Will be able to take out the Auri as he's being taken out himself. This is looking not too bad for JMGG so far, but now the real damage reveals from the LeBlanc as Lucian is being taken out. Axo once again fighting for his life here, but everybody is on his feet, and Zillax will be given the honor of finishing him off or not. On is just too fast here, but it is the Nexus who is going to be finished off. And with that, AURORA takes the first win of this ESLOL Div 2 Summer Split.
Yeah, well played by AURORA, and in the end, like I said, better draft maybe wins the games, who knows? And yeah, it was a really great performance there from most of the players. Like Zillax really did such a great job on the LeBlanc. Ilamesh on top lane with his famous Cassandra, just destroyed backlines back and forth. So I quite like this first match of the day, and of course like the first showing of new AURORA, because they definitely wants to give us something back for the miserable spring split, and they look quite strong, I need to say.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I also think I'm surprised by two things in this game. First thing, I really expected more from the JMGG AD carry Dan, which was a player that got hyped a lot in front of the split. So yeah, I'm not quite convinced yet, let's say it like that. And the other thing that was surprising for me was the impact the top lane had. Because to my knowledge, we are currently in a meta that doesn't really favor top lane plays. But both top laners were actually the carries, in my opinion, in their respective teams here. Or at least part of the carry for AURORA, together with the LeBlanc, obviously. So yeah. What do you think JMGG could have done better to win this game?
Oh, I believe that they needed to get like a big bot lane snowball going. I think the game was almost over after they lost this little skirmish where they just got 3 kills or something, or 2 kills on the LeBlanc, 1 on Wukong or something. Because with Lucian army, especially like with this nerfed Lucian army, I mean, they are not as strong as they were back in the day. So, and with this nerfed version of this comp, you really need to get ahead and play around your picks, and they couldn't really execute that too well, in my opinion. Like Poppy didn't really have too much impact if you consider ganks and stuff. So maybe that was a problem. I mean, they got 3 Drakes, but besides that, I mean, it's just really difficult if you, with such a team comp where you have little to no scaling, if you don't get like this snowball going, then it's really hard to win those games, and like that's exactly what we saw.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And with that, everyone, we are going to send you off to a short break before the game between Wiftsloths and Pertinax. So stay tuned for that. Go grab a cup of coffee or tea, and we see you in a bit.